Um, and we will record this, but we will not record the breakout discussions. So I'm Robin Cooper. I'm one of the co-founders and president of Climate Psychiatry Alliance. And you can move us ahead to slide 2. About Saturday, I don't know how your day was, but personally, I came home from very, very sore feet and renewed hope and a great sense of solidarity from the demonstrations in my city. I was thrilled to see how creative, sarcastic, and the many homemade signs. As you all know, the events of the weekend and the last week have been front page news with the massive demonstrations in over 1,300 large cities and small communities throughout our entire nation. Attendance in Washington, D.C. reported 5 times what organizers predicted, with over 100,000 attendees. Plus, the election results in several states and victories in a number of local elections in Wisconsin and Illinois, reminding us that when we work hard, we can resist anti-democratic forces. The demonstrations speak loudly about the interconnection between what we are gathered here for this evening, about our work in climate and mental health, with so many of the other issues under threat in our nation and world. We now identify what we are facing as the mega crisis or polycrisis. Health and mental health care and climate change advocates raise their placards with every other issue: Social Security, education, environment, clean air, clean water, clean places to live, Medicare, workers' rights, preserving our treasured forests and national parks, you name it. Plus, raising our voices for the essential preservation of democracy and effective government, since without these, we are further challenged to address the climate crisis. These times challenge us in ways we have never faced in our lifetimes. It calls on us, all of us, at Climate Psychiatry Alliance, to think about how we engage with this moment. And that is what brings us together this evening, creating connections to commit to our goals to address climate change and mental health. Next slide. So as we are challenged to, next slide, to step into our rapidly changing times, we have both things to do: a juggling act to continue what we've been doing for years, and being in the now, responding in new ways, creatively and boldly. And to this, we bring our heads, our hearts, and our hands, what we know, what we feel, and what we do. Next slide. So I'm not sure that last one went by. It was so beautiful. But this is what we will be doing today. And Jana, I cannot see the content of the slides. It is our agenda. Let's move. We're going to be moving through this tonight, and we will be sharing and focusing on the work of our community and focusing on what we do going forward, and especially what you can also do. We need all hands on deck. You will have the time to chat together during breakouts, the small breakout discussion. And for anyone who wants to hang out after our formal time for casual connection, well, you're welcome to stay and hang out with us. I'm going to turn it over to Bob Fetter now, who is on our steering committee and also a member of the New Hampshire Healthy Climate Group and wears many other hats. Bob?
Bob,
Jana,
it looks like you're muted.
and Jana, can you bring up the slide with the words?
Okay, thanks very much, Robin. I'm going to go over briefly the Climate Psychiatry Alliance mission and vision statements. These were originally crafted in 2016 and have continued to be relevant for us and continue to be important to what we're doing now. The mission statement, which you see in front of you, states that we find as one of our primary missions to educate the profession and the public about the urgent risks of the climate crisis, including its profound impacts on mental health and well-being, that we nimbly and creatively advocate for change, educating and motivating others to act to protect health and build a sustainable world, and that we create a forum to bring psychiatrists and other mental health professionals together to form a collective voice. Our vision statement indicates that we intend to provide a vehicle for sharing information, to provide resources and information, to influence policy, to inform and educate, and to establish collaboration. You can get more detailed information about both our mission and vision statements on the website. Just go to climatepsychiatryalliance.org and there will be further details there. It is now my pleasure to introduce Emily Schutzenhofer, one of our extraordinary leaders in the Early Career Network and an incredible new contributor to the steering committee leadership as well.
Much, Bob. Good to see all of you and new faces too. I'm Emily Schutzenhofer, and I'm going to speak briefly here about kind of the process of growth that CPA is going through to help orient everyone to what we are and where the opportunities are to get involved and the needs to help build this tree that I'm going to describe here. So the Climate Psychiatry Alliance has been being formed by just an incredible team, many of who you're going to hear from today. These are founders of CPA that have been making sure that climate change as it relates to mental health is a problem that is known and seen and visible. And they've really built up the trunk of this tree, elevating climate mental health in the public discourse and in our field as something that is worthy and necessary to address. By their work over the years, they've founded this alliance to bring us together, and it started to sprout up many new projects and teams that really need support of the membership. And that's all these leaves that you can see here on our beautiful tree analogy. So we've got core teams and committees of the Climate Psychiatry Alliance, including an advocacy and outreach team that has been led by Lise, who we'll hear from soon, and that is really helping blossom the state-based advocacy efforts necessary to help our legislators know about the urgency of this crisis as it relates to mental health. There are there's an education committee that has produced a lot of wonderful pieces of education for the public and for psychiatrists that is ready to take on new roles and new tasks to educate both of those groups now. There are opportunities all over over CPA to write for publications or newsletters or for our eco-psychopedia that you'll hear about more later. Lots of writing opportunities to help get the word out there. We've got a social media team that produces content for the APA that gets shared and reaches 6,000 people per post to help this issue be known. And we've got an early career network that is really going strong and helping to contribute in all of these areas, but also train med students, residents, and early career psychiatrists in climate mental health, so we can be addressing the all of the new psychiatrists to help pulling people in to address this effort. And so all of these leaves have started to be sprouting, and there's opportunities for involvement in all of them, and in mentorship of each other in each of these leaves, even if you can't be one of these leaves yourself. But there's also a real need right now for growing our roots of the tree, that the one that maybe we didn't have a chance to fully flesh out before. And so to see so many members here, it is really critical as we're thinking about, we need more psychiatrists on the ground in each community to help be promoting community resilience. And to do that, we really are working right now. The big effort of CPA is in establishing regional hubs across the country to pull psychiatrists together to take on these many actions in community-based ways. And so this is the history and the future of growth of CPA, and we need your help. So as you've heard about these different ways that people can get involved in CPA, I challenge you now to kind of let this sink in, to percolate and think in which way, where could I be helpful in growing this tree? And later on, we're going to have a document shared in the chat that is going to allow you to express what topic or area and what way you might want to be helpful to the growth of CPA and be involved. So with all of that, I'm going to introduce our speaker. And today I really have the privilege of introducing Lise Van Susteren to speak with us, she is an accomplished forensic psychiatrist located in the Washington, D.C. area, where I am recently from. But most importantly for us here tonight, she's a visionary leader, an outspoken voice for the issue of climate change and mental health. She was a co-founder of CPA, growing that tree up initially, and is also the leader of our sister organization, the Climate Psychology Alliance North America, founding a project there called the Eco-Psychopedia. She's also the editor of a complimentary online book, Climate and Your Mind, the leader of our outreach and advocacy group, which I mentioned, and is a passionate forensic psychiatrist and advocate for youth. She has been the expert witness in many of our children's trust legal suits, producing real effect in helping our youth be heard. So we are very lucky to hear from her now.
Thank you so much, Em. I was asked to do an overview of the psychological toll of climate instability. When I asked a widely respected colleague to join the climate battles a few years back, she said, "What does climate have to do with psychiatry?" It's a question I'm often stunned to be asked. I always answer it pretty much the same way. If the place you call home is burned down, blown away, dried up, flooded, when you lose your possessions, maybe your pets, your livelihood, your community, see injuries, illness, and death, common sense and life experience tell us how we would feel. The mix of fear, anger, sorrow, and trauma can drive a person to a breaking point. We have a critical role in this work to stir empathy, to break through the intellectualizing and other defenses so that emotional connections can be made that drive us to take sustained action. There are the climate traumas that are current and those that are coming, bringing what I call climate-linked pre-traumatic stress. Neuroscientists have deepened our understanding of anxiety. Just because we aren't conscious of our worries doesn't mean the worries aren't there and registering. Our bodies keep the score. So conscious of them or not, threats can be perceived by the amygdala and alarms raised. Stress hormones are released, affecting our physical health and exacting a psychological toll. Collective widespread distress can shape our culture, affect the national mood, and are a factor in the vitality of our economy, and they polarize us politically. It colors how we treat each other in our families, communities, our countries, and particularly those we see as different from us. Much of the discord and violence in the world is attributable to feelings of powerlessness and vulnerability. Climate instability provokes a profound sense of both. Threats to democracy. As a former CIA profiler of world leaders, I fear for our form of government. I wrote those words more than 10 years ago. For in times of peril and scarcity, we see a rise in authoritarian government. because people turn to what they perceive as strong leaders to protect them. They may be willing to give up long-cherished values in exchange for the promise of perceived security. Heaven help us from the tyrants, the bullies, I used to say could be unleashed, but now I have to say have been unleashed. The cumulative toll of both direct and indirect impacts of acute and chronic conditions, and the domino effect of failing ecosystems, sea level rise, dramatic declines in wildlife, resource scarcity, economic hardship, and the associated societal instability and geopolitical consequences is playing out alongside declining government commitments, indeed, alongside rising threats, and in the face of accelerating climate consequences, clearly driving profound and widespread anxiety. It would be dismissive for me to bottom line this with have hope. Choose to be optimistic, as a neighbor of mine with a high carbon lifestyle airily said to me recently. His wife once told me as I was joining their Christmas party, and don't bring up climate. We need to be realistic. Our planet is rapidly approaching tipping points, but we can take heart. More and more people every day are taking action. For embedded in our fear, anger, and sorrow are deep pockets of energy to be harnessed and redirected into constructive action, turning what we know into what we do. We don't know why, but we are the ones who are here. It is up to us. Raise your hand if the late great hero, Congressman John Lewis, means something to you. Clubbed on the Edmund Pettus Bridge as he fought for voting rights on the march to Selma, he charged us not so long ago with these words: if you see something that is not right, that is not fair, that is not just, do something, say something, make trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble. And in the end, enough solar energy reaches Earth every hour to meet all the Earth's energy needs for a year. Wind provides 40 times what we need. We can change the world, but we have to be smart, we have to be together, and we have to hurry. Thank you.
Thank you, Lise. You wove together such complexity into such a clear and very stirring message. So we thank you for that. Hi, everyone. I'm Beth Mark, a CPA Steering Committee member. Lisa's presentation actually serves as a perfect springboard to move us into our breakout room discussions. Will be sorted randomly into breakout rooms, each one led by a steering committee member. And we'll have about 15 minutes to share reactions to Lisa's keynote, as well as share ideas for current and future action steps. So sit tight and we'll see each other in about 15 minutes. So I see someone's put something into the chat, but if you can actually use the slido.com link, then we'll get this fun word cloud. Folks can also, though, check in the chat to see the other ideas that people are coming in with. connection, regional hubs, good trouble, education, work with firefighters. Education's getting a lot of endorsement. Connection, fighting between overwhelm and committed, systems-based change, necessity to engage under current administration, leading with the head, not the heart. Interesting. Devotion, grandchildren, call your senators. Dream groups and fairy tales. I would like to hear more about that. Local political action. Integrating grief. Yeah. Local depth. That's a great phrase. So it looks like our contributions are slowing down, but I'm glad this is going to get recorded. It's worth looking back on. So thank you, everyone, for your contributions. So let's now review some of the specific projects and activities that are going on right now or are in the planning stages. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Emily Walls, who is one of the co-leaders of the Midwest Regional Hub of CPA. Emily?
Hi there. This is such a great meeting so far, and I'm so excited to be here. My name is Emily Walls, and I'm a psychiatrist in a federally qualified health center near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In the past 6 months or so, I have had just the great fortune, along with Heidi Woods, who's based in Chicago, to form and establish the Midwest hub of the Climate Psychiatry Alliance. Heidi has been a fabulous partner. She's in the meeting. These local, state, regional hubs serve a critical function, largely because climate change issues are regional. The climate issues affecting the Midwest are not always the same as those affecting the Southeast, West, or East Coast. By developing a regional hub, you are able to drill down to the issues affecting your region and connect with local and regional professionals with similar interests and passions. For instance, one of the first initiatives of the Midwest Hub was forming a panel of mental health professionals to speak at the upcoming Midwest Climate Collaborative and also the University of Wisconsin Psychiatry Residency, both in Madison, Wisconsin. Because of our regional focus, we were able to generate a 7-person panel, all of whom will be able to attend these events in person. In this way, we are able to show up and educate about mental health and climate change. Overall, in the past 6 months, the greatest benefits of the Midwest Hub for me have been creating real connections with like-minded professionals and experts who are deeply interested in this work. It has been really exciting to connect with real people and to form some mentoring relationships through this hub. Finally, if you are considering getting involved or leading a local or regional group, you should. Some things that have been very helpful thus far are having at least 2 leaders to share in the leadership role, yay Heidi, and also having a first project, the Midwest Climate Collaborative, that has helped to give our group both momentum and structure. Finally, through working regionally, we've also been able to draw from existing relationships and local organizations as a starting point. I want to stress that it has been and is very complementary with outreach and advocacy work, both within CPA and also with other local advocacy organizations that you might be working with. So if you are considering starting a regional hub in your area, I just strongly encourage you to do so. It has been an excellent experience. So go do something, say something, and make some good trouble. That's what I have.
Emily, do you want to introduce Suzanne, who can talk about the advocacy group, or do you want me to do that?
Oh, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Oh, Suzanne Davino, we are excited to have her here to share some of the work that she's been doing in the outreach and advocacy group. And also to let you know, Suzanne is a leader in the New York team that is working on advocacy. And she is this month's champ of the month because she's been doing such incredible stuff. Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having me. I'm a clinical psychologist in Westchester County, New York, primarily working with young adults and their parents. I have specialty area in trauma and suicidal. I do a lot of DBT therapy. And I came to this work because having always been interested in the environment and concerned about the environment, I would go to work and I would feel like I just ignored it for so many of my waking hours. And that just felt very strange to me. So when there was an opportunity to kind of become a little bit more integrated with being able to use my expertise, that really meant a lot to me. And as part of the outreach and advocacy group in New York, I feel very bolstered by having so many colleagues. There's about 7 or 8 of us in the advocacy group in New York. And we have worked since probably September of 2023, trying to reach out, get connections with whoever we could in the state legislature. Whoever had a contact, whoever was in a certain area would reach out. And so we've met with, over the course of those past 18 months, with something like 6 different legislative groups. And it turns out, I really do agree with what Emily just said about local connections, because it turned out that the ones that stuck were the ones that we had local connections to. So I happen to live across the street from the New York State Senator, Peter Harcum, and our kids went to school together, and he's the head of the environmental committee. And that was really great that I was like volunteering in the community and knew him and knew his wife from environmental groups. And I think that definitely helped us for him to be one of the sponsors of our recent briefing and breakfast and press conference that we had. And the other person was Assembly Member Levenberg, who was Eric Lewandowski, who was the lead on that study in the Lancet, or one of the leads on the study in the Lancet, that all of you, I'm sure, are familiar with. So he had already been doing some talks in the community, and she was one of the 6 people that stuck. The other people mostly dropped out. But over time, we were able to create a presentation for each one of those groups that we met with, and then advocate for our aims, which were to build into the New York State climate resilience legislation that is proposed some more mental health concerns. You know, what can we do about psychological first aid for trauma, et cetera. We wanted to further climate curriculum goals, and we actually paired with another organization called Start Empowerment, which was a youth-led climate organization and BIPOC climate organization. And they brought a bunch of kids up to speak with us on March 25th, which was amazing. And they advocated for an allocation for climate education. And that was our third goal, actually, was to uplift the voices of the oppressed peoples and youth who really don't get a chance to speak. So it was really wonderful to be able to have that community. So that's where we're at. You know, we're very happy with this. We're trying to wrap up with thank you notes, et cetera. And we're hoping to move on to our next step. And, you know, Lisa is very good about pushing and making good trouble. And she's asking for a cabinet level climate officer and a hearing. And so maybe next year in the next session, that's where we're going next. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, but thank you so much for having me. And we're short on time, so I'm going to introduce Janet Lewis, who's a member of the steering committee and also a co-founder.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm going to be talking about what we're doing and what's coming up. Coming up, there are many events. On April the 29th, there'll be a presentation by Elizabeth Reisner Elizabeth has catapulted up to being the preeminent expert on the neuropsychiatric aspects of microplastics. So I'm sure that will be a really good and interesting presentation. There'll be a book discussion on May the 8th, led by our Robert Fetter, The Great Displacement. So there's some time to read it, and Bob is really good at leading discussions. And there'll be at the APA many events, which I'll talk about soon. There'll be an upcoming discussion on spirituality and climate change involving me and Reverend Nicole Duroff, as well as Emily Waltz, who you just met, sponsored by our very active Midwest Regional Hub. And then there are other things in development, a panel series about the complex issues in climate change and mental health, lightning talks with quick presentations of timely topics, a discussion about authoritarianism, which is very important. Other book club groups, so please suggest titles. And we're also anticipating a presentation about Indigenous knowledge and mental health and the climate crisis. So many things coming up, and we're eager for other suggestions. To stay up to date on these things, you can get them off of the CPA website, and also they're published in the monthly newsletter, and also there are listserv announcements about them. So here's the APA schedule. As you can see, there are several climate-related presentations. So please make sure you check these out when you're going to the APA. There's also, as most of you may know, there's an APA caucus on climate change and mental health, which will have a meeting. Make sure you get to that. Any APA member can join the caucus. And perhaps most importantly, there's going to be a party on May the 19th in the evening at a brewery. So lots of time to be together, socialize, and be able to make connections and get to know each other better. The next slide. Okay, so and now's the time to think more clearly about what's been percolating, about what you can commit to with involvement in CPA. As was discussed, there's development of regional hubs and advocacy. What's needed is point people for regional groups. There are writing opportunities, opportunities for speaking, giving talks, taking a leadership role in an engagement event like a book club or a discussion, being involved in fundraising, grant writing, that's always needed, as well as participating in the existing groups that were mentioned, like outreach and advocacy, the Early Career Network, and the folks who are doing social media, any of those existing groups. So now's the time to please commit to something. And there is this interest form that Giselle is sharing in the chat. And now I'll introduce another member of the steering committee, Steve Peterson.
Before Steve comes on, can we go back to the other tree, what Janet has just taken us through? And I want to just reiterate, Jana, can you go back one slide? I want to reiterate, those leaves on the tree are what we already have in play. But notice there are leaves there that don't have any words in them. That's places that your ideas can be added if you're interested in bringing something new to our organization. But I'm going to specifically say a few things that we really need. Our education group which has been led by John Sollenberger, who I'm just going to thank tremendously. He's leaving our steering committee, and we are rethinking that educational group. And if that's something that interests you and the thinking about what education is and what some of the activities should be that don't duplicate the many things that are happening, please, that might be an area. The other is, and it's not specifically up here, our Ecocyclopedia project, which is our attempt to create a Wikipedia of all things climate and health and mental health, and many entries. And we need mentors for the 4 or 5 Yale and Columbia summer interns. If you have an area and like to work with young, very, very bright people, we're looking for mentors for that for this summer. And if you have particular skills, please let us know. This organization will happen because of all of us. So I wanted to just put those few things in before we bring Steve. Steve Peterson, you want to come on and let us know how we fit into the bigger world?
Steve, you're on mute.
Got it. Okay. Yes, thank you. This has been a wonderful talk so far, and as the slide depicts, this forest, these trees are taking care of each other. We can't do this alone. A tree by itself is in a lot more jeopardy, but they take care of each other, as we know in the forest. And it's the same way we have a lot of relationships with other groups. Special recognition would be good for a couple of them, the Committee and Caucus for Climate Change and Mental Health with the APA. Many of the members here tonight might be involved in that. And also the Child and Youth Group working with the Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. These groups have been integral with us, and there's others. There's all sorts of other groups. After all, climate is a huge thing. It's a hyper object, and how are we going to address it? Well, we can't do it alone. Just as Suzanne Davies was talking about, we need each other in smaller groups in our localities, but also other groups such as the ones that are listed here: the American Lung Association, the Climate Psychology Alliance of North America. Hundreds of psychologists are members of that interdigitate with us in some of our projects like Ecocyclopedia. And perhaps the next slide. We should be sure to mention the Medical Society Consortium. They have a really, something never to miss is their educational meeting once a year in the spring. They just had it a month ago. It's just terrific. All these, mygreendoctor.org, terrific. And we know the founder. He's a wonderful fellow. He comes to some of our meetings. All of these groups are just people that we can work with. So these are our allies and partners as well. And we really appreciate our working relationship with all of them. So thank you for this. And Robin, did you have something more?
I'm going to just say a few words as we kind of get to the top of the whole hour that has gone so incredibly quickly. Those roots with all of those other organizations also mean roots with you and strengthening that. We're a small organization, but we are the only organization with the lens of climate and psychiatry. And to sustain our efforts, we need all of us to act together. Your energy, your participation, and of course, your creativity are important for this endeavor. Your support is golden to us. And if you're here, we know you are part of us and you care. But I'm also going to bring up the other reality. We are on a treasure hunt, And the reality of our times means that we need some treasure chest. That means we need a stable financial foundation, and we rely solely on donations. I don't want to make this a big pitch for money, but you are the lifeblood, both in your interests and activities and your financial support. So I'm also asking Jana to put in the chat the form for ways you can use your hands, and also for the link to our donation site. I'm thrilled with how many of you were here tonight. I wish we had time for more of us together, but I know how precious time is. And one of the words that kept coming up was overwhelmed. But I'm going to stay here and hang out and chat with anyone who wants to, or to bring up your thoughts. And we hope to move forward, strengthening with you. And there have been things in the chat that we'll answer. Anna Spector asked if the caucus can be attended virtually. I will ask the caucus leaders, Julia Rothstein, if that can happen. Francie Goldstein, interested in more information about the advocacy. We'll try to get back to you, and also hang out with us for a while now. Get a glass of wine, be with us.